The Holistic Self-Assessment. Chapter 7. Getting to the Root. Question: what is the root of my inconsistency and my fears? Up to this point, we have spent our time examining our principles, goals, habits, and relationships in search of inconsistencies and destructive or limiting behaviors. The goal of this chapter is to begin the process of understanding the root causes of our fears, doubts, and insecurities, which often prevent us from reaching our fullest potential. Studying our principles and habits allows us to see where we can improve our daily lives, while evaluating our relationships can help us identify and seek partnerships that will lead to a more enjoyable human experience. However, if we do not pause to examine the deeper reasons we allow unhealthy behaviors and relationships into our lives, we risk treating the symptoms rather than getting at the root of our inconsistency. As mentioned in the last chapter, the quality of the relationships we maintain directly affects our ability to thrive as beautiful, powerful people. This is especially true for our relationships with our initial caregivers, but also the relationships we establish as adults. The psychological model known as attachment theory describes the facets of both long-term and short-term relationships between human beings. Modern attachment theory was founded by psychologist John Bowlby and expanded upon by Mary Ainsworth. The theory posits that humans thrive when their bonds with other humans are strong. If we encourage loving, harmonious relationships, we are supporting the effort to create more secure and balanced adults. These efforts could see society restructure itself around principles and values that actually empower and uplift individuals through social healing. Further, attachment theory addresses how we as individuals respond when we are hurt by or separated from our loved ones. As infants, if we are shown positive and motivational behavior by our caregivers, we become attached to them. We seek to be close to them because we believe we will be provided with emotional support and security. This theory was eventually applied to adult relationships in the 1980s when psychologists Cindy Hazen and Philip Schaeffer noticed the similarities between adult interactions and those between children and caregivers. In the same way that children feel more secure around a caregiver with whom they have developed a bond, adults also desire to be close to their romantic partners and close friends. Adults feel a sense of comfort and joy when those they have formed attachments with are present. Reciprocally, you may feel anxious or lonely when your attachments are absent. These attachments allow each of us to handle the surprises, challenges, and occasional chaos life presents. By examining our closest personal relationships, those with our parents, family, and loved ones, we provide ourselves the opportunity to identify and heal our deepest traumas. We can live our lives shifting blame for our actions to other people and external factors, but at the end of the day, it is on us to take responsibility for our emotions and actions. Exercise. Refer back to your notes from our chapter on relationships. Look at the relationships you wrote down and any conflict you may have noted. Especially note your relationships with your caregivers. Spend a few more minutes elaborating upon your earliest memories and feelings associated with these relationships. Remember to write in as much detail as possible. The more open and honest you are, the more likely it is that you will be able to see past any facades or blockages your unconscious self may have created to protect you from deeper pain. It can be a scary thought to imagine facing your issues and trauma head-on. This exercise should be seen as the first step in a long journey towards healing the roots of your negative self-talk, limitations, and insecurities. I encourage you to make an effort to explore the parts of your mind that might have been previously off-limits to you. At your own pace, take time to begin uncovering and exploring any areas that are particularly painful or uncomfortable. The healing process can be intimidating, but on the other side, there is empowerment and growth. A second exercise you can try involves remembering a time in your life when these relationships or attachment felt strained, damaged, or lacking a sense of security. Take a few moments to meditate on this event and really get in touch with the feelings you had at the time. When you are working through these often uncomfortable memories, it can be difficult to identify what exactly you are feeling. This is normal, and there is nothing wrong with having difficulties clearly identifying complex emotions that have not been previously explored. Take yourself back to the situation and do not simply remember it, relive it. Experience it again as if it was happening for the first time and notice what you feel in your body and where you feel it. Take a few more minutes to figure out what you might have needed at that time. Once you have identified your need, see if you can give that to yourself in the present moment. For example, I spent several years chasing love and attention and various relationships throughout my teens and early 20s. It was not until I finally slowed down and recognized what I felt I had been lacking and what I was reaching for the whole time. I felt a lack of security and an anxious fear of abandonment. In this case, I would write that I felt insecure, anxious, afraid, and alone. I would acknowledge that the emotions I felt were a direct response to my experience. I would also express my need to show myself compassion, love, and understanding. Remember, it is perfectly normal if you struggle to put your feelings into words. Allow yourself to write down whatever adjectives that come to mind: empty, lonely, bored, frustrated, scared, determined, etc.